And the question is, can we take the e2 pawn? Can we take the pawn on e2? Okay, so a natural reply, and I think if the king comes this way, we lose. We lose. Oh, but they have tempos. So let's do that over. Are you in the square of the pawn? Yeah, you're in the square of the pawn. 4-4, right? So as long as you're in here, you're good. So can I use the king coming toward these pawns as a distraction? And so I know this is not the endgame manual. This is the analytical manual, but so here. Say g4, maybe trying to make a wedge. Let's say h4 first. Here. G4. And this is winning for black. Takes. G4 immediately. 1, 2, 3, right? So 1, 2, 3 this way, 1, 2, 3 this way. You have to be in the square of the pawn. Bam. Can't go there because of that. So let's say here. Maybe something like this here. Can I just go after these pawns? What if I play here? Oh no, maybe staying behind them is not that good. Maybe trying to play something active here. Here. Well, not even there, right? Yeah, so I think black is winning there as well. Wow. Thank you, Jack. I didn't even notice. What did he even say? Hey, Master John, how are you? So it's white to move. Can we take the pawn? Can't. So maybe I should put that as a title. So let's see. Properties. Can white take the pawn on e2? Question mark. No, it's a draw. Push h4. Well, let's see. Just working on layouts and stuff. Nice. My layout is very basic, but I like what it is right now. Basic, but it gets the point. It gets the job done. This is not an endgame book. It's an analytical book, so it's more about thinking how to think. So let's go over it again. So can white take? So this answer seems like it's no. Maybe we don't have to move the king until that king is close enough to the pawn to queen. But maybe the idea. Interesting. And do we have a draw there? Ah. So maybe I don't have to move the king right away. Instead, I play, so takes. And on g4, I don't have to move the king because I'm still in the square, right? Because it's going to be 3 by 3 and I'm in the square confidently. The king can get to the protection of the pawn, so that's not that good. Where it looks like black might be winning. So instead, so I do takes, G4, H4. Trying to create a passer on this side. King H. We can play King B6, right? Give us the option. G4. King C5. Okay, so that line is winning, right? So that line is winning. We don't have to move the king. We just stay here. So takes. G5. G5, strong move. Preventing H4, and if here, and if you try to like push here, takes, and am I in the square of the pawn? No, but you have to guard both of these, and these are floating pawns, right? Ooh, this is quite juicy. And if G4, G3, ooh, yeah, so that's winning for black. So we're not gonna do that. Okay, wow. So refute. It's from a book. We don't know. We just have to calculate the best idea. There's only one question. There's one question. Can white take the pawn on e2? It looks like black is winning if you take the pawn on e2. And this is supposed to train how you think analytically. Takes g5. Very strong move, actually. Stopping h4. Ooh, g3. And the idea is that they want to play h4 anyways, because then it would be 4, 4. Right, and that king is not going to be in the square of the pawn. Oh, okay. And then the white would be winning there. So g5, g3, b4. The king does not have to move on b4. So on h3, he has to play king c6 or king c7 or king here. If h4 then takes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he can get into the square of the pawn. But the king cannot block. So maybe g3 right now is very... Oh! Okay, here's another move. Okay. So on g3, instead of playing g3, h4, on g3, king c6, now we go closer to this pawn. Because if we play closer to this pawn, right? So the idea is if rook takes g5, g3, and now I think the move might be playing king here. And the idea is that I want my king here so he can no longer get into the square of the pawn, and I can use opposition, because if he ever steps on the mine square, then that's where h4 happens. If he ever comes close to it, then I think he can never push, right? Because I always take and I'm always promoting, right? He takes the pawn, moves away. Yeah. Oh, this is quite sweet. Oh, baby. So, can white take the pawn? So I think white's winning if he takes the pawn. Yeah, like if takes and takes back. Wow. Clash Kid, I think you got this wrong. We have to calculate every variation. That is just but one variation. In this endgame, I have to calculate if G5 works or not. I can't just say, oh, they're not going to move it. I have to calculate. And then once I finish my calculation and determine that that's winning, now I go into the other lines. It makes no sense to avoid lines just because they won't play it, or just because I think they won't play it. I have to make sure that it's concrete. In endgames especially, like if I don't make the right plan, one move in the endgame kills my whole advantage. One move in the endgame destroys me. All right. So what if takes? And I'm only considering this takes because they don't have to take. They can play like rook d7. Or maybe rook d7 and then maybe playing king c6. Right, but I just need to calculate what happens if they do take. King c6 immediately. But I think this h4 plan is too fast. King c6. h4. This pawn looks menacing. Here, here, here. Raising the square of the pawn now. Interesting. Thank you for the host. What happens without the b pawn? Without the b pawn, white should be winning. Okay, so I think I calculated enough variations, but I have to calculate. Okay. So takes, king c6, king e3, king here, h4. If here, am I still in the square of the pawn? Yes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm still in the square of the pawn. The king cannot shoulder me off. Thank you so much for following. Frap. What's up, Frap? Okay. So takes, king c6, king d3. b4. I'm still in the square of the pawn. h4. King d5. g4. Hmm. It looks like a draw, but it looks like a draw from what I calculate, but I know I'm not going deep enough. I know that I'm in this variation. Um, I'm not going deep enough, and that kind of bothers me. And again, I don't know if it's winning. I don't know if it's drawing. I don't know if it's losing. The literal question is just, can white take the pawn on e2? That is the question in the book. Can white take the pawn? And I hope nobody's using a computer because it's not meant for computer analysis. Just I need to go deeper than just h4. I need to understand. And I need to go like past the computer's understanding, honestly, because computers like mess up all the time. Okay, so let's go through the book. I gave this position a long time, not a long time. I think maybe how long have I been looking at it? Maybe like 10 minutes. That's not long at all. Okay, so can white take the e2 pawn, and how would you assess the resulting pawn in game? I think it's white's the one that's pressing, but I think it's a draw. So that's my assessment. So let's go with this. A proper answer to this question requires that we examine an important finesse on the move 52. Very important finesse. Ooh, and I saw the finesse. I definitely saw the finesse. Okay, that's okay. I'm on the right track. Okay, so rook captures e2, captures e2, captures e2, king c6, h4, king d5, and the finesse. This is the finesse here. King e3. This is a very important move, actually. Okay, so you cannot play when he plays king d5. You cannot play h5. You're not in time. King e4, g4, king f4, gg. What happens if you play king d3? Then you're just losing. King e5, and now we're coming this way. You have to stop this, and we're promoting our pawn. GG. You can try to give me the h pawn, but I'm taking here. My king is going to come here, and my pawn is promoting. Okay, so yeah, so king e3. Yeah, very important finesse here. So h5. After king e5, h5. Yep. For now, the enemy king is unable to reach the most important pawn at g2. And capturing the pawn on b5 requires the same number of tempi for the white king coming from e3 to d3. So, what happens if king f5? King d4? Thank you. King c5. After king goes to g4, king c5. King captures h5, takes on h5. King g4, king c4. g3. Let me just make sure that I'm going through the right thing. King c4, king g3. King d4. Captures on g2, king e5. He is not in time. King g3, king f5. And not in time to get the pawn. Very important finesse. Hello, how are you, United? Okay, cool. Now let's go back. So we're going all the way back. Yeah. So in that case, it is a draw. But actually, see, like, I didn't see all of this. Oh, sorry. The important way to get there. I didn't see all of that. But it just looked like a draw to me, so very nice. Very, very nice. What do you mean I never moved the pawn? Yeah, we never moved g5. We had to calculate the variations. So what if, I was calculating what happens if they play g5, right? That's what I was considering. What if they play g5? But this also leads to a draw. So that's why I want to consider black's best chance. What's funny is you only have one move in this position. And if you try to take opposition, you lose. It's crazy. Like, there's nothing else that you can do. King e1 doesn't work, h5 doesn't work, right? There's literally only one move. And this is actually very important. I had to see that this didn't work. Which is hard when you're down like 6 moves, 7 moves down the line. This is a basic ending. You're right. You're right. But we have to understand. We have to understand exactly what's going on and calculate. All right, so let's go into the next one. Ooh, this one has my a person I worked with before, Leonid Udasin, world candidate, world champion candidate back in his day. Okay. So you may take white and find black's replies in the text, or you may play it against a friend at a time control not less than an hour each. Wow. Jack, do you want to play this with me? Who's... This is crazy. This is crazy. This is Udasin versus Gurevich. I think Gurevich is a Ukrainian last name, if I'm not mistaken. So, okay. I forgot how to challenge from a position. Okay, so let's set this one up. This one's actually insane. Actually, maybe we should just... White pawns. Black pawns. I don't have 7. King. King. Rook. And rook. Chess is always a draw, yeah. Chess is always a draw. So white to move. White to move. Right, white to move. Okay, so I want no hints. No hints, no hints, no hints. Okay. All right. How should I play this? Hmm. Hmm. Like, my first instinct is to play rook d6. Right? Rook d6, king takes, c6. But then this pawn, I don't know, because this pawn is actually quite active. So maybe the best move is to play check. Maybe king up, or maybe king here. Ooh, spicy. This is a hard one. You have a new question for the overlay? What's the question? You want to make an overlay for me? I'm fine with that. If you want to make an overlay for me, you can make one. Out of appreciation. Hey, calculated chess, how are you? We're doing some really like crazy studies right now. Can white take the pawn? Oh, you're right. We have to make. Oh, I see. Well, this is just white to move. So let's take this one off. Thank you for pointing that out. White to move. This is what we need right now. The literal title of this chapter is "Play Like a Computer." We have an hour to calculate this. I'm not gonna take an hour, but like rook f6 is coming to my mind a lot. Rook f6. Rook f6. Rook f6. I like it, but I don't know if it's enough. And you know what's crazy? Like, I have to get out of this habit where I think I see a good move and then I just repeat it over to myself, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. But what if rook? Okay, this might be promising. If I play here and they take here, then I can play check c6 c7. Okay, I might be going somewhere with that. You have to put a rook either here or here, and then my king can come up. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh, guys, please check out the YouTube. I just uploaded a bug house with Raven Sturt. He's a 2500 FIDE. We had a blast together. Really, really good friend of mine. His name is Chess Athletic here on Twitch. So I'm thinking rook d6. I think it looks really, really nice. Thank you, Jack. Why not c6, c7? I think that's maybe a little bit too premature. If c6... Don't... Let's see. On c6, can't I play... I don't know. Who's... Oh, Eric came. El Mago. The Magician. On c6, let's say I just take on f3. If c7, then if c7, rook g8, rook c6, rook c8, and then that f pawn runs a bit fast. That's what I'm thinking, Eric. Okay, so yeah, if you play rook f6 check, king e4. Okay, so c6. So the move is c6, king takes f3, c7, rook g8, rook f6 check, king e4, rook takes f7, king d4. And I'm threatening your b4 pawn very soon. And so the sneaky move is that if you try to play rook d2, I mean rook d7 to try to promote with rook d8, then I have rook king c3 threatening mate. And then I play rook c8 and then maybe I can take on b4. I didn't even read the question that they have. They just said at least take an hour for this position. I don't know what the goal is. I don't know, but we just have to try to figure this out. Where it's white to move. We don't know if it's winning, losing, or drawing. That's the great part of this book. It doesn't tell you anything. It just says, hey, here's a position. Think about it. They give you very basic questions, and you have to fill in the answers. It's like a multiple choice that you write down by yourself. Like every choice is blank, but you have to fill in the multiple choice answers, and then you have to pick one. Right, king b2 and then king c4. And then king a3. Then I think I have rook a8 check, king b2, rook c8, at least with a draw. I don't recommend getting this. This is torture. This book is literal torture. But if you want to torture yourself, is it this one? I mean, I can't tell you what to do, you know? It's your money, it's your life. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, so maybe we have maybe attacking on b5, maybe attacking the pawn on b5 is the right way to go. Right. So there's a whole bunch of ideas here. And moving the king doesn't seem profitable to me just yet. And maybe like I'm even considering stuff like rook a3, rook c3. But if rook a3, I think king d4 is very strong. Which was quite unfortunate to me. Now, I have an idea, and it seems bad at first, and I just want to get the rook. If I can get the rook to c2, I would love that. But it's not possible. Which is why I like the idea of rook d6, rook f6 takes. Because now, at least I have a small passer. Just a small one. But then rook g4 and It's 1 versus 1. But my king is more a little bit closer, so quite the conundrum. Quite the conundrum. Okay, so I'm not gonna look at the moves, I'm just gonna see what it says for us. Let me put in the charger as well. Where is this? Yep, right here. So you Dawson versus Gurevich. White is up a pawn, and if he likes, he can attack either of his opponent's remaining pawns right away, but black is not helpless either. Depending on the circumstances, he may capture on f3, advance his own f pawn, or send the king over to c3 in order to attack b4 and create threats to the white king. Yep, I saw this. The first task is to choose from among several possible moves the one that keeps the best chances of success. We will certainly not be able to calculate it all the way to the end. In fact, we don't even know if white has a win just yet. And to save time in such situations, chess players often operate by the exclusionary method. That is, they throw out all the continuations where the opponent has a straightforward path to a draw. Yep, that's exactly what I was doing. And follow the one where struggle continues. Exactly. So the main candidate moves: king, rook b6, rook a5, rook f6, rook d6, or c6. These are the candidate moves. Rook f6, horrible. They play king d3, right? And that then they go to c4, and now they're just like, their king is super active, right? So, and black has a lot of drawing methods here. So in order to keep the king away from d3, white could try rook d6, which is what I was saying. Black responds with capture on f3. Now if c6, let's say if this is sideline, c6, rook g8. c6, rook g8, rook d5. Attacking here maybe. Rook c8, rook c5. King e3. c7. f5. And it's about equal here, because it just takes here, move away, and it's about a draw. Right? So we have to... So on rook d6, captures on f3, then maybe rook b6 is a little bit more dangerous. Because of f5. Rook d8 check, rook c3, king c3. c6, you're going to play a passive method here. But now he has rook g1 check, d1, and rook to g4, saving the day. b5, rook a4, threatening mate one more time. You have one move, and then finally b4 check, boom, takes. Nice little technique. So what happens on c6 if they, so instead of rook d6, what happens on c6? And actually, rook captures f3 is not correct. I mean, sorry, not rook captures f3. Rook d6 is not correct. So I unfortunately made the mistake. It says it's good, but it's not the best move. Fair enough. So what happens if c6? How many times have I said what happens if c6? Who's been counting? Black must choose which side the king goes to. And of course, yeah, accurate response is just to capture on f3. Very simple. This is what I calculated. So the only real way to retain any winning chances is to take a pawn. So now we play, boom. And now you have to play this super accurate move, rook g4. Okay, let's go back. What happens instead if we just play rook b6 right away? King e3 to d3, captures on b5, c3, threatening mate, king to d1, king to d3, king to e1, king here, king f1. Black should move his rook away to c2 in order to forestall c5, c6. So in Chess Informant number 42, they said that if you play rook c2, rook b6 is very nice, maintaining the edge. Okay. So now let's keep going. So the idea, let's go back. Jeez Louise. They literally have different lines that end in 90 moves. So like literally you have to calculate 25 moves deep in each line. Right? In 20 in like 8 lines you have to calculate 30 moves deep. And I would say like, yeah. That's deep, yeah. That's a rolling into deep. You don't remember the starting position? This is the starting position. And both here and here give a slight edge to white. But the idea is that you have to think about everything. So they're on move 66. So, okay, I'll move 66. Okay, so they play, this is what they played. Rook f2. Rook c2. So situations like this with the blockaded, though connected pass pawns are frequently drawn, but theory holds that this case is not one of them. White can gradually lift the blockade. So rook c2. Rook b6 was played in the game, but black replied f5, which is a spectacular move. Instead, there was an even better move. Rook b6 is very natural. But there's a better move. Rook b8 is probably slightly better. I would have played rook b6. I have no idea. Anyways. Rook b6. f5. c6. f4. b5. Captures on f3. Rook b8. And here rook c1 check. King h2. Rook c5. This is a drawing method. Very, very beautiful drawing method. Let's say rook g8. Rook c2 check. King h3. Rook c1. Threatening mate. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you. Are there exercises for remembering the position? Yeah, just remembering them. But it's not only the amount of moves that you have to understand, is like you have to understand why each line doesn't work, and you have to keep remembering like why this doesn't work and what they have and what they don't have, and not confuse any lines. Okay. So they played rook c1. So this is the game right here. Very nice technique. King h2. Rook c2. King h1. Rook c1. Rook c5. Rook b1. And then King f2. Also, if you play rook b1, you could still try to make a mistake, because if here, you might think, okay, if he checks me, I'm just going to play here and I'm fine. Nah, you could actually lose like this. Right? And if he checks me here, then I have here, and then, you know, I'm going to win. Nah, it's game over. If King g3, b6, f3, King g1 only move. King g1 only move to win. If you don't play King g1 here, you're getting mated. With the simple idea that you have to play here, check, here, take the rook, boom, queen, and GG. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. But I thought you were, wait. This is Mr. Hammer? It is Mr. Hammer. We're going over a game, I don't know if you know it. It's in Baku, I think 1985. It's Udasin versus Gurevich. And just going over the endgame. Baku 1986. And so this is the starting position. I don't know if you're familiar with this position or not, but you know, just throwing out normal moves like rook d6, rook f6 just doesn't cut it. I think normal moves for me, like I want to play rook d6. I thought that was good, keeping the king off of d3 and maybe trying to push c6. But just maybe a slightly better technique, which was shown by Udasin, was to play rook b6 instead. And rook b6 was actually really, really nice. Bringing the king over here so that you can play rook c2 We have chances here. And very nice technique by Gurevich saying, hey, look, I know how to draw this. And now here, king f2. Very nice. Saying, hey, look, I'm threatening mate again. I'm over here. But also, if you play rook b1 here, let's say, it's not too late, because if you try to play king g3, which seems like a very natural move, you know, I'm going to just mate you here. Right, so b6. Here, now you have to play the only move. So this move is the difference between winning and losing. King g1. King g1. Are you serious right now? Let's play the natural move. Right, this is a natural move. King f1. Oof. h5. King h5. Rook b3. All your hopes and dreams are over. Let's say he doesn't play that. Let's say he plays here. Rook h5 so that he can play here and here. Rook f1. And now I'm going to give you little words of wisdom. Okay. For those of you who are starting off, really just don't really know about endgames, and especially in rook endgames, but in any endgames, when you have connected passed pawns on the 6th rank, this is worth a piece. Okay, connected passed pawns on the 6th rank are worth a piece, and it's the piece that you choose. Okay, just always remember that it's the piece that you choose. You cannot play rook h2 here. Rook h2 is no problem. Hello. Hello. Well, when I teach my students, I like to teach endgames first. The reason being is that endgames are the purest form of calculation in chess. There are endgame tactics, obviously, but you have to calculate everything. There's no like surprise. Like you have to just calculate every single thing. You have to be precise. You have to make sure you understand the position. In middle games, in like openings and middle games, it's a bit harder to understand what's happening, and you can have different plans, you can have different ideas, but in end games, it's really clear cut what kind of where you have to play and where play resides.